Hi guys, welcome back to my antiquitech channel. Today an interesting post for you. We're going to look at the Sahara Desert. We're going to look at North Africa, and we're going to propose that in the Sahara Desert, less than 500 years ago, was a glittering civilization. And I'm going to also propose, with a selection of photographs and puzzle pieces, that this area of North Africa and beyond was wiped out less than 500 years ago. Now, what we're looking at here is a 1805 map by the cartographer John Carey, and it depicts Africa. But you can see that just south of the Sahara Desert is this great mountain range. The mountain range is called Kong, like King Kong, the mountains of Kong. I got to think about the movie King Kong when they got that giant wall across, they built a giant fence, didn't they, to keep the monstrous ape at bay. And then I got to wonder why, in 1805, Mr. Carey was putting in a giant mountain range from coast to coast almost that isn't there in the modern day. Was it there 500 years ago? And I also want you to pay close attention to this area here of Mauritania, right by here at the end of said Kong mountain range. Now, it's not the only map that has mapped the Kong mountain range. There are other cartographers out there as well of a similar era. So we're going to try and pinpoint it. Now, I was wondering whether, the world ended 1666, 666, because so many pointers to that date, isn't there? The 666, obviously, and the Great Fire of London, and then all of them new buildings being built. But I think there was a great catastrophe. I think maybe something to do with a comet. And we'll have a look at that now. So the kingdom of Gingira down here on the eastern side of Africa is where the mountain range, the mountains of Kong, or the mountains of the moon, they changed to by there, and they're Kong on the other side. Very interesting. Two mountain ranges. So this is the Cosmographia Atlas, fantastical atlas from the 1500s, full, as you can see, of Masonic symbology, the twin pillars, Jogging and Bois, very much players in these maps. And as you can see, the double-headed eagle and the heraldry for all of the houses that run the show at this point in time. What you can see here in these depictions is an Africa which is green and lush. Now, they do say this is a nice little azimuthal equidistant from the similar period. And as you can see, around the coastline, Barbaria, all the way up to so-called Egypt. I'm going to talk about that in the next post, I think. Something I found with Egypt. So the coastlines are highly populated, loads of towns and stuff. And, you've got a not as fatter Sahara Desert in that map. But you have got the mountain ranges in the south. The Kong mountain ranges are also in that map. Okay, so the Cosmographia is fantastical. I can't imagine what's going on with the cartography in this map, but it is fantastic. There is no snow anywhere in these old maps. The Urbano Monte map, the well-known map, and the Cosmographia, there is no ice. Everywhere is green and pleasant. And you can see the Iberian Peninsula here, Spain and Portugal. You can see the gates of Colossus, okay? And then you can see North Africa. And what you see in North Africa is just European-style, minaret-styled Tartarian buildings. Now, here's a better look at North Africa. So it's green. It's got trees that look like deciduous trees and strange beasts and stuff. But right the way down into the Sahara Desert, you can see palaces, minarets that look a bit alpine, really. And up in Barbaria here, palaces all the way up. So also these mountain ranges that are not there in the modern day. Look into East Africa, you can see mountain ranges here as well. And these really interesting ley line points. I think that they mark the ley line zenith points where the crossovers are of the ley lines. I even think that they mark the ley lines in these maps. These things here, uh, portals, if you like. So yeah, down in Ghana, there's a different show going on. You see a bit more palm trees and a bit more what you would expect to see of indigenous populations of Africa, as you can see down in Ghana, Nigeria, etc. They have what look like maybe Caucasians having a bit of a battle. But what I find interesting is the three feathers, or the three fleur de lis on this flag, and a crescent moon and a crescent moon. Keep a lookout because the crescent moon is absolutely everywhere on these maps. Now, you see in Africa these glittering palaces. Well, they're not there in the modern day, are they? So, what are they doing there, and where are they in the modern day? Okay. And you can see here, this is meant to be the Red Sea. And you can see the arrival of the Phoenicians. Very peculiar affair. These Phoenicians, they ride whales and they have floats with the eagle as a figurehead, but no actual people in this float. The water, just a symbol for the water people that came and took over the realm. So here we see the rest of Africa. You can see just Caucasian people, deciduous trees, and everything is green. And same for the Sahara. You see, these glittering palaces are all over Africa. We do get a phoenix type of being there. We've got deciduous trees here, and this is Madagascar. One of the biggest islands on Earth. We don't know too much about it. I've watched a few documentaries. The species of animals on Madagascar are nowhere else in the world. It's just its own species. Very interesting place, a little bit like the Galapagos. But again, for Africa, naked Caucasian white people look like they've been living there a while. Now, I noticed that they got technology as well with the basically the saber, as you will see, or the excuse me, scepter, the scepter, which is a weapon. Now, this map here is a really interesting map. It proposes the passage of a comet. The passage of a comet that possibly happened in maybe 1066, because on the Bayer Tapestry, they say that the comet, what they call Halley's Comet, there's no way they could possibly know that. It hasn't got Halley's written on the side or anything, just putting that out there. But a comet came along this plane and it wiped everything out. Now, what happened is it came in across from Peru and it caused all the damage in Pumapunku, a tsunami in Lake Titicaca. It carried on across the Atlantic. It hit right there in Mauritania, evaporating a large city there that some people think was Atlantis. In fact, there are narratives out there. Now, Plato said that Atlantis was beyond the gates of Colossus, which are the Gibraltar Straits right there. Well, most people have put it out there, and there's a few pencil depictions that say Atlantis is out there in the Atlantic, in the middle of the Atlantic. What if you got to be going south beyond the gates of Colossus? And I have got other maps to support this as well. And that this area, this wiped out desert of dust, was in fact Atlantis. And it's been wiped out in the last 500 years. Not only that, this comet carried on going across the Sahara, turning everything to dust. And then the Arabian Peninsula, which is also 500 years ago on the maps, green, and what they call the Fertile Crescent, which is the Holy Land, all the way into Mesopotamia or Persia, was apparently green. and it's not that way in modern day. It's all dust and desert, but it was in the past. So there's a giant swathe of desert in a line all the way across the Caucasus, and the impact point is the eye in Mongolia. Now, I have maps of this. There's a giant water aquifer in the Kirsta books of 1700 lying under this Great Depression that is in Mongolia. Now, this is a very large area of the Gobi Desert, actually, guys, where it is a Great Depression in the ground, just like something has hit it coming from this direction. But do take close attention to this area here, where there is another geographical anomaly they know nothing of, and it's called the African eye. I know loads of you in this field have seen this. They show us different depictions of it, from above, and it looks like a city that is concentric circles, a bit like the old Mexico City and many other cities, concentric cities, which some people have said is Atlantis. Now, some people have cited Atlantis also being near Cadiz in Spain. There's also a cylindrical city there, which is fitting the description of said cities of Atlantis. So let me just... So yeah, as you can see, this is like it actually looks like it's spiraling in the African eye, but it's got like mountains around it, and they are literally scorched. You can see it's blackened. If you watched Star Trek Enterprise back in the day, there was a species called the Zindi, and they had a thing called the Zindi gun, which literally zapped a big portion of America. In fact, it wiped out Florida, didn't it? Cut the panhandle off in Star Trek Enterprise. And I remember thinking, oh, wow, what if they did have some sort of weaponry like that, from high up, or the comet, the resetting ball, which we see all over the place in depictions and alchemical depictions, is the culprit. Now, imagine there was a giant city there, and it's wiped off the face of the earth. This is the depression here. And just like the Mongolian depression, it's a slit, it's a cut, a giant gash in the earth's surface with an eye inside of it, the African eye. And some people say, and excuse me, the size of these depictions, the Google images just do not do these images big anymore. But you can see this is a depiction of Atlantis. Let me just maybe... Yeah, you can see it better like that. Which concentric circles, very much like Mexico City and many other cities in antiquity we know about, surrounded by water, just like Plato said. And this area, well, it's a similar circular city, if you like. And it is exactly on that map that I just showed you, on the western fringes of that line that creates this desert. Interesting. Here's another generated image of what they thought Atlantis might have looked like. And as I said, many people on the internet have proposed Atlantis being this eye. Plato's hint unraveled. The long lost city of Atlantis finally found nested in the Sahara, just as ancient texts suggested. So I don't know which texts actually suggest. Maybe Plato said beyond the gates of Hercules, which are the Straits of Gibraltar, which lands us straight in North Africa. So that actually makes a lot of sense. There's also this hand. I don't know the full story behind it, but it's in the desert near to this eye. And here is an old topographical picture of said eye. So, people have known about it for quite some time and have been the Eye of Sahara. And I know people got different interpretations of what they think the Eye of Sahara is, but I think it is zapping because it's all black around the outside, just like it's been scorched. And it corresponds with that other map that I've got of the passage of that fated comet. And look, imagine the comet coming in really close, just zapping everything that it touched. It's plasma, yeah? It's like 1,000 lightning bolts causing lightning that is just like lightning you haven't seen ever in your life before. What you talked about on a, sort of Thunderbolts project or Zachariah Stitching, no, excuse me, Emmanuel Velosowski's the Worlds in Collision type of plasma event that would rip the Earth like this, and then you get an impact point, and then the secondary impact point, because they come in twos, was the eye, or is the eye, of Mongolia. Let's carry on our journey today. This is a journey that was taken in the Sahara on a mission, actually, guys. So this mission was taken place, and these pictures got released in 1933, but the mission took place in 1898, and it was the mission of a Lamy Ferrou, who traveled from Algiers right the way through the Sahara Desert with the use of camels and some aids. I don't mean the disease, I mean some people to help him. And he went off on a voyage. Now, it's a voyage across the desert. Now, remember, the desert is like the sea. They call the camels ships of the desert because it is just an expansive sea. So there's the Straits of Gibraltar, the depression of the Endicott Mountain and the Eye around this area in the southern extremities of the Sahara Desert, where the Kong mountain range, which is no longer there, goes. And it looks like they went down all the way to Lake Chad, I think that is. Okay, now there's photographs and they show us of his journey. Now this guy knew exactly what to photograph. What you can see here is underground civilization, below ground level. And if you can see here, you can see that there's some sort of, structure to these, still left. But as you can see, this it's been zapped, hasn't it? It's gone. The surface may have had developments, but this is underground level in the Sahara Desert, and it's ancient civilization. You could attribute it to Varia, you could attribute it to Carthagena, you could attribute it to the Phoenicians. And to me, the pharaohs and the Phoenicians, I think the ruling classes were possibly the Phoenicians throughout, possibly clandestinely as well today, because we're in maritime law of the sea for some odd weird reason. I think there are two factions in battle till modern day, and I think it's playing out. And I think that the human species, whatever we are, our avatars, are in a place that cannot sustain. And that is what it's all about. More under the desert, which is dust. That's why there's dust storms. What do we know of these places? Just look, under the ground, walls, underground level, which looks like melted glungy bricks. Now, what happens with this comet that went over? It's, it skipped everywhere. And everywhere it skipped, like, some say it went to Scotland and skipped, and vitrified forts there, went over the area of the Indus Valley civilization and scorched that as well. And interesting this. And the Indus Valley civilization also have forts that are vitrified, rocks that have just bubbled and turned to just glass, if you like. Look at this. Who are they, I wonder? Looks Mayan, doesn't it? Like the Mayan sun disk a little bit, doesn't it? But yeah, it looks bubbled. This stone looks bubbled. I see heat. I see heat there, and I know it's in the desert, but I'm talking thousands of degrees, guys. And clues are Tutankhamun had some beads in his jewelry, and apparently they were from Libya, and they were Libyan glass that were found in the desert. Glass that had been turned into glass through heat, extreme heat in the Sahara Desert. They collect these and they use them for the royals, like Tutankhamun. And also in the Trinity tests, apparently, when they exploded 180,000 tons of TNT, the heat was sufficient enough to meld the stones together, or the sand together, in the Arizona desert, and excuse me, Nevada desert, and turning it to glass. There was all beads of glass under the Trinity test. My God, look at this. There's something up there as well. But it looks Moorish, doesn't it? I'd say that was a Moorish flavour to that one. But there's like, what did that? Someone have a big special gun and zapped it. So all of that below ground level. So off they go, the camels. Okay. So smell them Tuareg fires. So I went off to the Bedouin. I said, "What do we do for women of the night on this voyage, on this mission?" And he said, "Oh, Kim Sab, what you have to do is you take the camel." I said, "You take the camel?" I said, "Yeah." So I thought that they were actually sleeping with the camels, but what they actually meant was take the camel into the village. I got the wrong information. Check that out. There was something in there, and they've broken it. I wonder if they had aircon. All of this chiseled out of stone. Look at the detail. Out in the middle of the Sahara Desert. Who can we attribute this to? I don't even know. Doesn't look Roman, doesn't look Carthaginian or anything like that. This looks Moorish, Indian, Persian even. So off we go into the Sahara Desert. We've got thousands of miles to go, guys. It's a long way to Tipperary. On we go. Loads and loads of camels. And we found an oasis. Not before time because we were getting mighty thirsty. So we had a drink of water. We took some readings from a mesa. Okay. And off we went again to find more antiquity. There's another beautiful oasis. I love oases, not the band though. Oh, their little dog. How lovely. So let's find this. Whoa, they found that. Out somewhere in the Sahara Desert, underground level, is just something that looks like it's been burnt and forgotten about. Nobody, even in this period of 1898 in the Lamy expedition, know anything about Sahara Desert, all the civilizations in it. This is new to, we don't know anything. Same with Egyptian stuff. I think a lot of that is a bit of a fake, just like Disneyland, especially the Tutankhamun story. It's just just such wondrous things. There's a face, isn't there? I think it's a bit of a con. We'll look at that anyway in the future. That's a face. And there's a wall. That's a giant face. Wow, guys, out in the middle of Nowheresville. Even this looks like it might be all wall or something. It is all wall. There's purpose and beds, so that is an old wall. And wow, look at this stuff. There's a face, an arch, all underground level. Maybe it had a top to it that just got wiped off the face of the earth, like the whole of the Sahara. This looks a bit of a green bit where they're setting up camp. Quite a sizable camp. Have you ever tried to walk up a sand dune? Yeah, it's really exhausting. I like 10 steps and I want to have a lay down. It is very exhausting to walk over sand. That sand dune is like a mountain. You need a camel to get up it, guys, because really it is just exhaustive. I went to a desert in Colorado, White Sands Desert, 35 miles square of what are you doing up your sand desert. It was a stupid elevation. I think it was 9,000 feet. But oh my God, absolutely exhausting to try and walk up a bloody sand dune. Never had no idea. So here we go off into the Sahara. Find some more Bedouins to talk to. He has no house. Africa is his house. He just goes where he wants, eats what he wants, drinks what he wants. He knows where everything is. If he wants some water, he just drills down a little bit, and there's loads of water. Under the Sahara Desert is a sea, they say. They say that you can find water anywhere under the Sahara Desert. Or so they say. So interesting mesa, a little bit like New Mexico style. It's a bit similarities to the deserts of, the Mojave I went through, California. And it looks like where the island California connected to mainland America, you know. That looks like a mud brick fort. Sorry about the quality of photographs, but it is early. We have French flag frying. It belongs to Mr. Ferru. You obviously found these stones jolly interesting for some reason. So, yeah. So it was a mission. So was he people turning people onto Christ? Today is the day after Easter Sunday, and it's the day that Pope Francis popped his clogs. What is that? A big white pile of what? Snow? Salt? What? 88 years of old, it would be. A lot of people said he'd been dead for a while, just like the Queen. She was dead yonks before they actually announced it. I called it all, and I called Prince Philip. I was weeks away on that. I had an email, so I thought, me, Matt, you called that one. So I wonder what carved this out. Wind, time, entropy. Right, so that is a mud brick fort, the older style which you see in North Africa, Morocco type of affair. And some of these in Turkey are the oldest buildings in the world. They have a mud brick castle near Lake Van in Turkey, one of the oldest structures on Earth. They last that long, apparently. Some sort of embankment, some sort of town maybe in the distance. So terrible bit of photography, but what are you going to do? He's in Africa. It's blazing hot. He's just seen these things for the first time. An enclosure wall, a rather large wall too. A few walls going on, and then boulders and stuff. Boulders, something going on with them too. I think. God, I couldn't even get over how many boulders are in America. So, my God, you could never count all these boulders. But, in a VR, you just render as many boulders as you want. There's a nice store. I wonder if it goes underground. And I bet they're really cool in them, in that stinking hot heat. See these boulders? They're just all everywhere. How do you think they got there? Is it glacial deposited the rocks? Or was all this underwater? And that's how they got deposited. Or another apocalyptic event which splattered the landscape and boulders were flying in the air. Look at these boulders. This was probably some sort of structure. You can see at the top there's a fort, like a minaret. Some sort of fort. Oh, so here, yeah, some sort of mud fort with an indigenous lady carrying the water on her head. May I suggest that you move to where the water is, save you having to walk back and forth every single day. Yeah, some mud huts under this thing. I bet you there's stuff inside these. Seems to be like a window and structures inside that stone boulder thing going on. The Africans themselves, they live in little mud hut things going on, don't they? But somebody's been building this. It's very akin to what I seen in Pasos in New Mexico, the remains of this Indian fort, apparently, from Pecos in New Mexico. But it was, it was a fake. But it looked very much like this, same scutcheon too, just a mud brick affair, attributed to the Spanish, which is the French. So they got mud floods, but somebody's built an enclosure with the Masonic pillars with the 3 balls on top. This is a Masonic symbol. So somebody's put up that enclosure. I don't think they got that information from the ether. Or maybe they did. Makes no sense. So. Okay, we're moving on. Oh, they got horses. Love horses. Horses are the best. Oh, they got a nice little dome village going on, yeah. And at this period in time, they know nothing of civilization. I doubt. What are these? I don't know. Stone. Wow. Sort of square thing there. Right, well, they just got really nice domed clay buildings here and a little fort going on. But, that's nice. That makes sense, especially with the blazing heat, just get under there. It'd be a constant quest for shade in this environment, I should imagine. 100 degrees all the time. There they are again, walking, with jars full of water. Just come back from the water hole. Took them a day's walk to get there. See me, I would have set a camp up next to the water hole, save me that frigging walk day in, day out. That's probably a water container, thousands of years old technology that keeps it all cold. You can keep water underground in clay containers and just keeps it pristine and cold. Having said that, though, they look like they got a little bit of antiquitech going on these domes, don't they? Maybe they have. Maybe they know about chi energy. Maybe they know about gathering energy. Like little orgon chambers, pyramid shapes. So, last few images here for you today, guys, to get through this post. It would be awesome if you could subscribe to my channel, like this video if you did. And I got plenty more to come in the coming days, coming up to the weekend. So what we got here, North Africa again, Tunis. I haven't been to Tunis myself, but I have sailed past it and seen it from the coast. And Tunisia. Okay, and what you find for Tunisia again along the North African coast and part of what would have been the Carthaginian Empire, but you can see this Romanesque. If they, the Romans, I'm actually sick and tired of saying the Romans. Now I'm not even. I'm going to try and not say the Romans. What have the Romans ever done for us? And apparently they were just this bully race that came through Europe with Caesar. Just oppressing everyone and enslaving them. And I don't think we've come back since. But I think it's a psyop that nobody gave a shit about the Romans until Hollywood. So I think it was myself. I think it was the Phoenicians. And the Romain rowed for them. They were the men that rowed the boats, the Phoenician ships that I've showed you 1,000 times. So yeah, it looks quite green and pleasant in Tunisia. Not very deserty, but nearer the coast, it gets a bit greener. But yeah, loads of remains of antiquity in North Africa, Latin, or is that even? I think that's Latin. So the Romans were said to have been there. Again, I say the Romans, but I say that in the loosest terms. I think this is an old path of something. They got these fezzes on. The fezzes are interesting. The technology behind them. They got mercury in the technology, the felt, and I think it's akin to my last post when I talked about antlers, deer antlers being worn by indigenous populations or Celtic populations, Druidical peoples in the past. And there's this felt on there, and I think that it's interacts with the ether. I think it could help with hacking the Akashic record, if you like, and pulling in information. So there's a mission here. It's another mission. DMM 33 Babylon and S Reinach Babylon. Okay, 1883, 1884 in Tunisia. So they're looking for antiquity, looking for something that's worth a few quid. That looks like straight out of Rome, doesn't it? Again, bricked up windows. Why are they bricking up all the windows in antiquity? They knew a reset was coming and they knew it was going to be a blast attached to it. Otherwise, why would they block up all the windows in antiquity? All the windows, if you were standing in front of them when there was an almighty blast coming with this event, think of the film Alaska, like fire and brimstone piling down, blast waves, then it would make sense to break up your window, wouldn't it? So that's interesting. This is broken fragments of antiquity, which somebody has had the know-how to just put in plaster on the side and make it some sort of broken biscuits bas relief. But you can see the grapes and the leaves, the Bacchusite touch, the Phoenicians. I can smell all over them fragments. Why would they do that, though? Fragments of antiquity, even then, even then. Oh, right. Well, we can see this is, well, looks very Pompeii-like. You can see they call the classical people, the classical world, sacred geometry, sacred geometry. Oh my God, that is a cymatics experiment. Oh, they both are. So if you put a frequency through iron filings on a steel board, 432, and they will go, and that will exhibit, or that will exhibit, or that will exhibit, or that will exhibit. My God, they're doing cymatic sciences. Boom. That is brilliant. Wow. So I think that the Greeks, the Romans, the Trojans, the Carthaginians. I think it's just all a footnote. It's just a word for these people of this classical realm that built this fantastically big stuff with giants, all about water as well. These balls, these fragments of antiquity. What was that water coming out of there? In the desert, possibly. Yeah. Somebody took the time to pick up these fragments and fix them into plaster after the fall of this empire. Oil burners. Yeah, I wonder what kind of oil they were burning. I bet some of it was quite potent. It's a good way to get oils into your system is anointing or rubbing oils or balms straight into the pores of your skin. Gets into the system much quicker. Stivalnius Kosul says, cunt. So that thing fell over, didn't it? Out in the middle of nowhere. And look at the world. You can see giant, like, stones in the background. Look, dressed stones. Yep. I think the Sahara Desert is evidence for at the end of the world, which happened, I think, less than 500 years ago. I think that we have just been getting our shit together since what they call the Industrial Revolution, the 1800s, population turnover, which hasn't worked out. I think they've given themselves a corrupted batch. I think they're going to try it again. This is an experiment. And like with BSE and mad cow disease, just kill all the cows, we'll start over with a new batch. Along those lines. The remainder of the true souls that are here are being watched. So make sure you're preserved. And don't go and do anything stupid or kill yourself. I noticed that as well. I made a post about like Kurt Cobain, and then I had an email off of literally YouTube saying, "Is everything all right?" They're in my stuff that much. But it occurred to me, it's like, oh, why do you care so much? Is that hemp or pimp? Pimp the fifth or the third? Pimp the third. Opilokos. Oh. Dedication is what you need if you want to be the best. If you want to beat the rest, yeah. Dedication's what you need. So there's all columns. This looks like an all antiquity. I wonder who picked that stone up and put it on top of there. That's a good question, that is, because there's no cranes out there, is there? Well, maybe half a dozen men could have manhandled it up there, but it's crazy. People are like, making decoration of the existence of this fallen civilization. This looks like a water drinking fountain or for cattle, maybe. But again, Phoenicians in portals and what look like aquatic beings swimming. Phoenician out in the desert. This is madness. Look at this quality. I bet that's all out there today, just left. Because there's no one there now. But obviously, for this quality, there was somebody there. Wow. A lot of people. I bet there was billions. I bet that the population was massive. in the classical world. I think that, oh, there's a face there. I think that all of these beings, yeah, I think there was just a trillion. I think there was so many. I think it was highly populated, the area we now know, call it North Africa. He looks oriental, and he's in Tunisia, and he's sitting like a Buddha too. He doesn't look African. Looks maybe a bit Persian. Wow, these are really good finds, guys. I go for photos all the time, but these are really good. What they found in their expedition. Mrs. Babylon. Can't make it up, can you? Oh, look, giant prawns. This is early prawn. Early prawn. So it looks like he's doing a bit of fishing, but again, that aquatic feel in a mosaic. And our Phoenician Hercules with his club, and he has a homunculus on his shoulder, a mini-me, as all super criminals have a mini-me. Yeah, I got a mini-me. It's supposed to go like that with your little finger in the corner of your mouth when you see him. Mini-me. So yeah, all of their heads are missing. The heads of state are gone, so you don't recognize any of them, obviously. They got the noses off a load as well, and they got the heads off the rest. What does that say? Kasapi. Oh, that could be. I think that is a C. C-A. Kasapi. Kasapi. Sounds Italian, but I'm guessing that's Latin, not Greek. So it's funny, isn't it? All that Latin America, but nobody actually speaks Latin. The only ones that speaks it apparently is the Vatican. Ancient, apparently, religious organization, which is definitely struggling. All of them are, because their shit is becoming undone. That's what's happening with the whole realm, you know, guys. This new paradigm that's just coming upon us is that if you've got shit, it's all going to come up, and it's a part of a purification process. I've noticed that people who are like narcissistic and stuff, they're losing their shit completely. They're like, wow, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Everyone can see me. It's like, yeah, we can see you anyway. You just thought we couldn't. These are giant stones in there, and they're melded. Look at that. This is a building. Right. Let's have a look at some of these fragments of antiquity from Tunisia. I wonder what they are, or what they mean. But again, this is below ground level. There's writing all over it. So that I can presume that this was a massive civilization during Tunisia, as well as that exposition of Mr. Farouk as well at a similar period in time. And they found that there was a great civilization under the Sahara Desert. Just a few images to complete this post. This is out of the Cosmographia. They show you a green and pleasant world. There is no snow, there is no cold, but nobody is exactly where they're supposed to be. Like, you know, Africa is got Caucasian people. You can see all these lines and these nodal points. They're nothing to do with latitude, longitude of the modern day. I think that these are corresponding to magnetics, the magnetic fields of Earth, the ley lines, if you like. And these, with the fleur de lis, if you like, are the points where you build. Terra of Peru. So this is the area of Peru which is populated by white people and not Spanish people. But not only that, this is unusual as well. If you can see this guy who looks like a jester, but it's actually a chick because has the one breast out, just like the Isis religion that you see with the Phoenicians. She's like, stop it, you're under arrest, I mean. And he's put his hands up like, oh yeah, fair cop, mate, fair cop. And she is arresting him with this. It's a weapon, an electrical weapon. Yeah, that maybe she's a police officer. I don't know, but she has a scepter, and they call Britain the Sceptred Isle. And it is, it's granity fudgeness. I think this place got zapped in the past. I really do. In one of the resets, it's either water or the resets like Noah's flood, or a plasma reset, as I'm sure a lot of you in this field will know. So this guy, Grant's there, he's a big homo. Grant's homos. He's a big bloke, he says. I think he's a giant, but they're having a battle, and shit go down in this picture. So the Americas are mapped. As I said, it was a 1500 map. Somebody's taken the time to do a bit of cartography. It's a bit off with the orientation of Central America and the kicking out of South America into such an easterly direction. Some people think that's a Mandela effect. So the population of the Terra of Florida, so Floridia, which is the whole of this part of South America, is populated by white beings. You do not see any Indians per se in the 500-year-old pictures, but what you do see is flags with crescent moons on them. Who has flags of crescent moons? Again, Florida, all the way up the East Coast. You can see the Phoenician ships there, all over to New York, all over to Canada, beautiful trees of America, and these golden domed cities, 500 years ago in America, and vying the sun, the sol worshippers, Satan worshippers, because we're in hell, and the crescent moon, the moonies, which is basically the Ottomans. So in Brazil, apparently, all went to shit. But as you can see, can you see this? In 500-year-old Brazil, like the Amazon guys. And there's no Amazonian Indians going on. There are Caucasian people, and their shit has gone to shit. They're chowing down on a bit of the strange meat. But who is building all of these massive cities with these strange aerial things all over them? 500 years ago, guys. It's supposed to just be discovered. So here we are again, the Amazon region of South America, fleur-de-lis on these flags. Terra of Brazil, giant cities all over Brazil. Cannibalism and war going on with the people who are there. She's got a cross, probably a mission with his missionaries. Many will die. A bit like the UN. And white Caucasian people populating South America. This is the Amazon River going in. And I'm not sure what's happening with the ruler, but again, it's with the happy hat, the bobble hat that we see. These look like, they're in Britain or something, in some hippie festival, because they are all white people occupying South America already 500 years ago. Sitting on a nice blue pillow, the king, with his happy hat, and he's got a scepter. I wonder where he got his scepter from. The scepter is power, isn't it? And if you can see here, the pipe, panned pipes of Bacchus, the drums playing. She has a sistrum, which is a vibrational instrument, which has a certain sound. So yeah, they're getting down with the funky tunes. I'm not sure what this is at that location there. So this is South America, but it's looking in a, basically this is Antarctica. You're not looking down on a map. You're looking from north to south, basically. And this is Tierra del Fuego in South America. Now, in Patagonia, there's supposed to be giants living, okay? But if you can see across the water, which is supposed to be the Magellan Straits to Antarctica, is a green place with loads of names, because Antarctica apparently is populated green with loads of names in many maps, especially 500 years ago. And these creatures are all over images, and they're said to be Tartarian beasts. I think it's derogative of Tartaria, but they are elongated heads, and they also have some strange weapon in their hand as well. So here is South America again. You can see these are the Patagonian giants. They live in very southern tip of South America, and this is the land of Gargantuan. Gargantuan is a giant. They're saying this is Antarctica, apparently, guys, green Antarctica, that there's giants. Maybe that's where they went. So this is another cosmography, a beautiful little book. This one is showing mountain ranges coming through. This is from, well, it's from the 1500s anyway. It's a lovely little book. It's all in Latin. You can see Nubia, Egypt, Africa, etc. But these mountain ranges are on these maps as well. And they had an effort of making a cartography of America. Bugs my head to see this is Saipan, okay? And it says 7448. Is that the year? I don't know. India over there, but it's obviously not. That's Asia. But Saipan is Japan. Why is Japan just off the coast of America? And this is South America. And North America is just this skinny bit here. And all of that is the Canadian bit. 500 years ago, the world looked completely different. Not even the same realm, is it? Okay, this is the Cosmographia cover. You can see that they're showing you a dome with a fiery bit in it. The earthly plane, fire above that. And above that, the stars, the sun, and the moon, the luminaries, which are up in the firmament, so to speak. So that has been mostly it for today. Just going to show you some images of the civilization that was sub-Sahara. So Congo going down had advanced civilization as well. You can see here in 1897, this king here, he was the late king of the Congo, succeeded his father, who was San Salvador. It's got a bit of a Spanish name, but as you can see, the royal stuff going on in the Congo. It's not all like mud huts and stuff. It is civilization, ancient in the Congo, ruins there. And as you can see, the city of Longo is a large city with walls and large buildings, and they're not all living in mud huts. And this is a city, a proper city in Congo. Some of the finds, the wood masks. I've got one of these myself behind me on the wall. I've had it, bought it in West Africa when I was a young man, and off a dread. And I kept it with me. It did have blood on it of an elephant because it's got ivory on it, but that seems to have faded over time. Here is some of the antiquity that can be witnessed in this part of Africa. Spanish in flavour. Again with the bricking up, but in the Congo. So I'm not sure what's happening with that. Somebody's undercover, just hiding in the bushes. Maybe his name's Russell. And in America, as you can see, I've posted this many times. You can see the population of North America. Okay, although they are doing a ritual of doing something like these are the Amazons, and the Amazons are blonde women, maybe a bit suntanned, but they are a warrior race, and they are in North America as well, as I'm guessing in the Amazon after their name. But there was an Amazon woman that's toured Europe in the past, and she was a giant Amazonian lady. I posted her on my last post, actually. So this fella is surely a Caucasian. Surely everybody in this picture is a Caucasian. This is meant to be North America. And as you can see, as well as Brazil, North Continent as well, they are chowing down to strange meat. Why is everyone doing cannibalism only 500 years ago? Maybe it's under the bequesteth of these people that have arrived. This one's being dragged out. Come on, you're going on the oven. Monkeys, they're cooking monkeys. And there's a king killing dragons and whatever cattle they can get hold of. And they have zebras. But again, look at this city 500 years ago in America. Anybody? Population of America. That's giant cities and strange Caucasian peeps. Same story for South America. Hello? Anybody? Maybe you can tell me in comments what the giant cities are doing there. I don't know. And the bobble hatters. So they are a grey, like, sort of peoples, but the bosses are like really, really big, like 7 foot tall, and of the Floridians, but also Caucasian people. They got skyscrapers and what looks like a star fort 500 years ago. Okay, here is the king, it looks like, and some papal people. Everyone else hitting the dust for some reason. Oh dear. It's like that, you know, don't mess with the prime directive and leave a can of Coke behind, otherwise they'll all worship the can of Coke. Jesus. So the early missions of America, the story of Columbus, using people. Is it all true? I don't believe Columbus' story for 1 second. Look at all these cities here. Africa. Cities. Huge cities. It's not really tallying with the old narrative for, excuse me, for official history, is it? This is Africa. This is the Sahara Desert. You can see a bit of Kong, but not that full range that Carney was actually mapping. So I think that's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe to this channel. Love you very much. You awesome people. I'm going to be back in a day or two, and Flat Day's coming. Make sure to catch up with all my other stuff. I've got a couple of interviews coming up in the next week. I'm going to be super busy. It's all going to be awesome. So is the nature of Flat Earth British, Martin Leakiness. So that's been me. Much love. Boom Shanka. This has been Marticus from Stinkhofen. Boom Shanka. May the seed of your loins be forever fruitful in the belly of your woman.